happening now. This is Wave 3 News.
Breaking news right now on Sunrise. An LMPD officer wounded in an early morning shooting. Police cruisers there rushing through the streets of downtown Louisville to get him to University Hospital. Wave 3 News reporter Kayla Van Meter is live in West Louisville this morning where the shooting took place. And we do know that the officers are actively searching for the shooter. But first and foremost here this morning, Kayla, any word on how that officer is doing this morning?
Lauren, he is expected to be okay. We spoke to LMPD Chief Steve Conrad just moments ago, and he tells us that the officer did suffer a graze wound. You can see right now several officers still here at the scene. They are gathering here close to where media is right now. Close to the yellow police tape that's sectioning off this area. We do know the officer is at University Hospital right now. Chief Conrad, he says all of this began when the LMPD officer was conducting a pedestrian stop here at 36th and Broadway. It was two men involved with this. Conrad says the men ran after the officer tried to conduct this stop. The officer then ran after the men, and that's when he was shot at. He was grazed by a bullet. It was just moments later. Police rushed him to University Hospital. It was a tense scene there at the hospital with dozens of officers running inside, checking on their fellow officer. Although now, again, we are told that the officer is expected to recover.
Officers in the vicinity responded, established a perimeter. We called in our air unit, our SWAT, and conducted a search of the area. At this point, though, we were unable to locate the suspects.
Right now, this is considered an active search. The suspects have not been found this morning. LMPD's choppers flying in the air. SWAT is on the ground continuing the search. LMPD's Public Integrity Unit also investigating this morning, too. And we know when you wake up to news like this in the morning, it's very worrisome. It's serious stuff that we're talking about. But LMPD is telling us they will release this officer's name once they are sure that the family has been notified of everything that's taking place. So again, right here at 36th and Broadway, officers still in the area here behind the yellow police tape, and a lot of homeowners waking up this morning unsure as to what has taken place. Of course, once we get more details, once we learn more about the officer's name and more suspect information, we're going to keep you updated right here live on Sunrise. For now, reporting live on 36th and Broadway, Kayla Van Meter, Wave 3 News.
And as you wake up here this morning, we are taking a live look toward downtown Louisville right now. Not a bad start to the day. We're getting you ready for the weekend. The little taste of fall we have seen the last few mornings, dipping in the low 50s. Yeah, we're warming up. Tawana and Brian join us here with the very latest. So many activities going on. It's going to be crowded tonight in downtown Brian. We have the Bats game going on, fireworks tonight. That'll be a lot of fun.
It'll be a lot of fun out there. And the weather looks like it's going to cooperate for that. Now, the only issue we're going to have looks like this morning. This is a classic setup for river fog to form.
Exactly.
Visibility is already dropping in downtown Louisville. You saw a bit of it showing up in the camera. We'll talk more about that. I got a feeling some of the buildings may actually disappear here this morning. Not literally, but with the visibility. So just keep that in mind. If you live near, say, the Kentucky River, certainly around Frankfort, that's always a classic spot there on I-64. The visibility does drop, so be careful this morning.
Yeah, we have more of that moisture being pumped in with that wind coming out of the south, so it's certainly something we need to watch. Right. Brian will not be pulling a magic trick and making the city disappear. We just have to watch for that fog. And temperature-wise, you'll notice a difference as you step on out this morning. As we look in the metro, notice your temperature is mainly in the low 60s. Some of you yesterday morning were in the 50s, so we are continuing this warming trend that will last the next couple of days. We are still seeing some 50s across the area, though. 59 in Lanesville, 58 in Henryville and Greenville, 68 now here at Wave 3 News, 69 at the airport, seeing 64 in Highview. And for those of you outside of the metro, 59 in Bardstown and Mumfordville, as well as in Northford, and 61 in Paoli. High pressure off to our east. This will bring more of that air coming out of the south, and while it will be light, it will help to slowly but surely increase our humidity, but at least we will stay dry throughout the day. We will be seeing those temperatures slowly but surely warming up into the upper 80s. Just keep an eye out for those dog's paws as you head on out today. We will be seeing, yes, that pavement quickly warming up with all that sunshine, but overall, pretty nice day to walk your dog. or at least let your dog run outside.
Or in my case, my dog's just going to take a nap all afternoon. It's not going to do any walking whatsoever. All right, thanks, Tawana. Let's get right to the setup here with the Kentucky Kingdom SkyTrack camera. I mentioned that fog that could be developing near downtown. If you see it on the camera here, it's right there, just above the horizon itself, close to the ground. This should actually expand a bit more and get a little bit closer to the actual banks here of the Ohio. It's not going to be a huge concern, but I do think it could restrict some of the visibility this morning. Right now, looking at the actual sensors, so far traffic is flowing just fine. Checking out the visibility, keep in mind 10 is the magic number when it comes to visibility. That's where we want to be at. And both Ollie International and Bowman have that number now at 10. We'll be watching this as we head throughout the morning, but also keep in mind we don't have sensors in every location, so we'll have to depend on a lot of our cameras here for today, including our traffic cameras, which right now don't look terrible. Speeds look to be in good shape. We'll see how this trends, though, as we head throughout sunrise. Another update still to come, Lauren.
New right now on Sunrise, 2 Louisville men accused of attacking a man with a large rock and robbing him. Oldham County Police say that 25-year-old Javaris January and 22-year-old Nolan McLean hit, kicked, and beat the man with a rock during the attack early Thursday morning in the Orchard Grass Hills neighborhood. Police K-9 Fanta tracked down the suspects, but stepped on a fishing lure during the search and had to be treated. McLean and January are now charged with first-degree assault and robbery. The victim told police that the attack was because of a fight over a woman. He was taken to U of L hospital for treatment. In LaRue County, investigators still have not named the suspect in a double murder-suicide, but right now we're learning new information about the Louisville mother here, found dead Monday. 33-year-old Brittany Wilson was found dismembered in a freezer behind a mobile home on River Road. We do know she had 4 children, but are still waiting for police to tell us how she died. Family members tell us she wasn't afraid to speak her mind, and her mother spoke exclusively to Wave 3 News, sharing her grief with us.
I feel like I don't have anything inside of me, physically, that it's gone, and she was my youngest. I love you, baby girl. I love you so much.
Oh, that just breaks your heart there this morning. She says no one in the family had heard from Brittany since May, and they feared something terrible would happen, but they never imagined anything like this.
She was cut up like an animal, you know, and I can't fathom a person being cut up. Wow, what could she have done that was so bad?
Before setting the crime scene on fire, then taking his own life, the unnamed suspect allegedly confessed to killing both Wilson and 39-year-old Nicole Murray. Well, happening right now, a critical teacher shortage in Kentucky less than 3 weeks before the first bell rings on a new school year. Kentucky education officials are now scrambling to make sure there are enough teachers in local classrooms. The shortage includes special education classes, languages, and career developments. Recruitment was a major topic of conversation during a meeting of the State Board of Education. Leaders say they don't want people teaching subjects they really aren't educated in.
This is absolutely a front burner issue for us. And the reason it's so serious is not just the numbers, right? But if I think about this from a parent perspective, right, how serious would it be for me if it were my kid that didn't have a qualified, certified, well-prepared teacher?
The Department of Education acknowledges the looming pension crisis is steering some students away from teaching here in Kentucky or pursuing a career in education somewhere else. Well, speaking of education, it is back to school for some local kids today. Big back to school on Monday, Tawana, for a lot in southern Indiana. And sounds like summer's making a return.
It looks like it's going to be hot again this afternoon with those temperatures getting into the mid to upper 80s. At least we keep the sunshine and at least we stay dry for today, but things are gradually going to change as we continue through the weekend, looking for higher humidity, then eventually that rain returning to the forecast to let you know when to expect that rain and when you need to pull out those umbrellas in just a few minutes.
And next year on Sunrise, we have new details about the 6 options for the Sherman-Mitten Bridge Renewal Project. Sean Bowdy explains how they will impact your commute and the impact to local businesses. That's next. Plus, have you seen them? Vultures taking over parts of southern Indiana. You'll hear how one representative is working to change laws to help farmers who are losing livestock. That's coming up next.
This newscast is sponsored by Morgan & Morgan for thepeople.com. More local now. You're watching Wave 3 News Sunrise with Lauren Jones, meteorologist Tawana Andrew, and traffic with Brian Good.
We are following breaking news right now on Sunrise here this morning. An LMPD officer wounded in an early morning shooting. This is a live look from the scene here this morning. This happening around 36 and West Broadway, excuse me. We just heard from LMPD Chief Steve Conrad. He is telling us he believes the officer will be okay. He was grazed by a bullet, rushed to U of L hospital here this morning, and the suspects who pulled the trigger here in this have not been arrested. So this is very active scene here unfolding this morning. Kayla Van Meter live there. She will have an update for us with the very latest information coming up next here at 5:30 this morning. But again, an LMPD officer shot in an early morning shooting around 1:30. Let's get a check of the roads here this morning with Brian. So far, so good, but things changing quickly, Brian.
Yeah, got to keep it on the visibility here. We're not likely going to get to the level of, say, a dense fog advisory, but I do think we'll have at least some fog that could restrict some visibility in some of the area roadways. We're monitoring, in fact, downtown Louisville right now. We can start to see some of that trying to form very close to the horizon. That's where it'll likely start, and it'll drift a little bit more toward the river as we head toward the next, I would say, 2.5 hours, it looks like. Right now, though, traffic not being affected at all by that. It is flowing just fine. Now, I did add to the checklist for today, at least to keep in mind about the low beams if you run into some of that fog in the area. And, of course, don't forget the sunglasses. But that's it. No AC needed for your ride-in for the car yet. I got a feeling, though, that could be changing as early as this afternoon's commute. Much more on that, of course, coming up here in just a few more minutes, Lauren.
Well, right now, the Indiana Department of Transportation taking some time to review your input about what to do with the Sherman-Mitten Bridge while it's under construction. This is a huge story we're following here this morning. Wave 3 News reporter Sean Bowdy joins us live here in studio right now. And Sean, thousands of people use this bridge every single day. So not only are drivers concerned, but also local businesses.
Yeah, in total, the bridge carries 90,000 cars a day, so that use it daily. They say no matter what happens while the bridge is under construction, they're in for a prolonged commute. The bridge is expected to undergo a $90 million renovation in 2021. There are a few options to get it done. One is a complete shutdown, which would take the least amount of time, and the others would include keeping at least some lanes open, but would take much longer to complete the work. At a public hearing last night, commuters got the chance to express their concern and tell the Department of Transportation what would work best for them.
The commute's going to just be longer. It's going to be more hectic. One of the only wrecks I've ever had in my life happened because I have to do a detour due to the last shutdown of the bridge.
Some local businesses, like in New Albany, are also concerned. They say with the bridge closing, it could keep people from coming across the river to their place of business. The decision on whether the bridge will be closed partially or open will be made in the fall. Reporting in studio, Sean Bowdy, Wave 3 News.
Yeah, so many festivals going on in southern Indiana this weekend. A lot of people traveling across the bridge, maybe doing some last-minute vacation plans, Tawana, before school starts here in less than 3 weeks.
It's coming.
So big change is coming.
Big change is coming, and a lot of it comes in the form of heat and humidity. We've had a nice little break from that, but that's changing starting this weekend, all because of high pressure, which still is going to keep us dry, and it's keeping our skies clear this morning. But of course, we're still watching for some areas of patchy fog. Our sensors are showing a little bit more of it to our west and to our east. So towards Frankfort, we're seeing some of that patchy fog, with some of the densest fog. It's actually starting to show up towards Jasper and Du Bois County, while some of this trying to sprinkle its way into parts of Breckenridge County. So we're going to be keeping an eye on this for you in the metro as well. We're seeing some hints of that fog. Your temperatures in the mid-50s for a lot of us, mid to upper 50s, but we are seeing some low 60s across the region. 69 degrees right now in Louisville, eventually making it back into the mid to upper 90s for this mid to upper 80s, excuse me, for this afternoon. No, not going to be as hot as the 90s. We will be dealing with all the sunshine throughout the day, some extra clouds here and there. So don't forget the sunglasses, the sunscreen, especially if you're going to be hitting that pool later on and spending extended time outside. And of course, keep an eye on the Wave 3 weather app for the latest updates on the rain that's going to be coming in the next couple of days. Tonight, falling down into the 60s in most locations, so a little bit warmer overnight than where we have been for the past couple of days. For your Saturday, making it back into the upper 80s to near 90 degrees with an isolated shower chance in the forecast. Remember, most places are going to stay dry for the weekend, including if you're going to any of the theme parks across the area as you gear up for the start of school. Maybe you're having a little bit of fun this weekend. If you're heading to Kentucky Kingdom, keep in mind highs near 91 degrees. And for Kings Island, into the upper 80s, very low rain chance. Same thing for Holiday World with a high near 90 on Sunday. Not too shabby of a weekend forecast at all, but things really starting to change with those clouds increasing throughout the day on Monday ahead of our next front, which will bring some scattered storms into the forecast starting as early as Monday afternoon. And so for those kids who will be heading back to school on Monday, including New Albany and Floyd County, you'll be seeing those temperatures warming up to near 90, some scattered storms for the way home. But most of the rain looks to be overnight Monday into our Tuesday with some more scattered storms behind the front on Wednesday.
All right, Tawana, thank you. 5:17 here this morning. We typically think of vultures as scavengers. You see them up in the sky circling after something has died. Well, for some in southern Indiana, they've now become a nightmarish sign of what's on the way. Farmers say black vultures have been eating their cattle alive, but they can't do much about it. Now, a U.S. representative says he wants to help them. The problem is that right now, farmers can't try to get rid of the vultures by themselves because they need to get permits because the species are protected.
A calf has to die in order for a farmer to get a permit. And what we said was, that seems backwards to us. We want farmers to be able to take proactive measures once they've seen a black vulture to protect their livestock.
U.S. Representative Trey Hollingsworth proposed legislation that would make it so farmers could get a federal permit to kill the birds without the requirement that livestock had already been attacked. Hollingsworth hopes Congress will take up his bill soon. It is 5:18 here this morning. Still to come, Nike reveals a new sneaker that's designed to improve a runner's experience. Good day to get out and exercise, too. Jane King will have more details about the personalized touch Nike is now offering. That's coming up live from the NASDAQ. Brian, you can use that when you exercise at 3 a.m. Are you still doing that?
Yeah.
Working out before work? No, you're not. Look at your You did that for what, 2 days?
Yeah, a day and a half.
A day and a half.
Day and a half. It's not easy, guys. All right, I tell you what, I'm not going to go with the caution light yet for your morning commute because of fog, but I'll be monitoring that and let you know if we need to change it. Right now, we'll go with the green light. Much more with your traffic cameras next here on Sunrise. But first, here's the latest look at your Kentucky Lottery jackpots, the Mega Millions, $40 million, and the Powerball at $75 million.
The Kentucky Lottery, fueling imagination, funding education.
Welcome back to Sunrise here this morning. A tiny piece of technology showing promise at early cancer detection, and researchers at the U of L Brown Cancer Center are contributing to it. The center shared an article from medicalexpress.com highlighting the work at Worcester Polytechnic Institute to develop a liquid biopsy chip, you can see it right there, that detected tumor cells in 100% of blood samples from breast cancer patients. By making such early detections, they hope doctors can predict the course of a cancer and treat customized treatment as well. The Wave 3 News Sunrise team, we want to help you get ready for back to school. I know it's a stressful time. It's also expensive, so one lucky family will win a $500 shopping spree at Meijer. To get everything on your student's list, just head to wave3.com and click on the contest page and tell us who should win and why. The winning family will be announced August 12th, and we get to take them shopping at Meijer for all of their back to school needs. A lot of fun. Well, it is Nickelodeon night featuring Paw Patrol at the Bats game this evening. There will also be appearances by Nick Jr. characters, including Marshall, Sky, and Chase, my son's favorite. Kids will also get to take pictures with the characters as well. First pitch is at 7 o'clock, and then they have fireworks after the game. A lot of fun, Brian. If I can get my voice back, I hope to go cheer on the Bats tonight, so we'll see about that.
That's a good thing. You kind of just blend in with the crowd in those kind of moments, right? But it is certainly going to be good weather for that. Of course, you know, with the fireworks going on, it's going to be good as well. This morning, only issue we got is just a little bit of fog, nothing major out there. And in fact, once again, we're talking about a dry commute for you guys. So the roads look to be in good shape. Here's a live look at the 2nd Street Clark Memorial Bridge at the moment, monitoring the other traffic cameras as well, looking for poor visibility that could develop. Not every camera is going to be able to capture that, but so far the main ones we have that we're looking at show looks like a nice view and good speeds too to start off here on the day. If you're going to the airport to catch the first flight of the day, once again, most of the connecting hubs we have here in Louisville are in great shape, relatively quiet. The only issue I would say would be across Florida if you're heading down there, and perhaps the Twin Cities could develop a few delays. But other than that, the East Coast, once again, extremely quiet. Now, we know it's not going to last forever, Tawana. Our weather pattern is going to begin to change, certainly by the time we're in the next week.
Really, next week, as that front starts to sweep through the region, that's when we're going to be seeing more of that active weather returning to the forecast. But for this morning, as Brian mentioned, we're continuing to watch those areas of patchy fog, seeing it popping up just to the north of the metro on our sensors, also towards parts of Nelson County and areas a little bit further to the west. Starting off in the 50s and low 60s in many locations, into the upper 60s in the metro for this morning, getting back to near 90 degrees for this afternoon. Hot, at least the humidity is still staying on the lower side for today. And remember, we just mentioned that Bats game. It is Nickelodeon night. Starts at 7, and we will be in the mid-80s around first pitch, dropping down into the low 80s by the time we hit the 7th inning. Lows tonight into the 60s. Tomorrow, back to near 90. Some isolated showers possible for the weekend. Most of us staying dry, though, as we continue through the weekend before that rain returns late Monday.
A groundbreaking ceremony yesterday celebrating Jim Beam's newest distillery right here in Claremont. The Fred B. Noe Craft Distillery is named for 7th-generation master distiller Fred Noe. He is the great-grandson of Jim Beam. It'll serve as the home for the company's small batch bourbons. The functional production facility will also allow the company to test out new recipes and ideas.
This facility will serve as a space to explore new fermentation, distillation, and even maturation techniques. The skills we learn and practices here can then be scaled up to our big distillery.
The craft distillery is part of a larger $60 million investment to reestablish the James B. Beam Distilling Company. That was the name of the company immediately following Prohibition. Breaking right now on Sunrise, an LMPD officer is recovering right now after being shot early this morning. Kayla Van Meter has been staying on top of the story, and we'll have an update on the breaking news situation as police there are rushing to the hospital and are continuing to search for the shooters. Plus, new right now on Sunrise, a Hanover man facing federal child porn charges after Indiana State Police got a tip to search his home. And new plans just revealed for a new affordable apartment complex in Prospect. Much more on all of these stories coming up here on Wave 3 News Sunrise at 5:30.
With breaking news happening now, this is Wave 3 News.
Breaking news right now on Sunrise, an LMPD officer shot and rushed to U of L hospital. We have new video coming into the newsroom here this morning showing the moment fellow officers raced to the hospital to get him there. Overwhelming emotions at the emergency room. So many people there showing up this morning. Let's get right to Wave 3 News reporter Kayla Van Meter with more on this breaking story. Kayla, I know you just talked to police a few minutes ago. What they have to say?
We do know that officer is expected to be okay. LMPD's Chief Steve Conrad, he tells us the officer was grazed by the bullet. We are here at 36th and Broadway right now, but I'll tell you the scene shifted a little bit. A lot of officers have since left. We know Louisville Fire, they showed up, they left. The crime scene unit is gone now, but as you look into the distance here, Broadway has reopened. It's 36th Street that is completely blocked off in the area now. So police tape still surrounding this area. A lot of neighbors in this area now too, so the scene is changing a bit. However, it is shrinking when we say that as well. So Chief Conrad says all of this began early this morning. It was around 1 o'clock this morning that LMPD says that the officer was attempting to conduct a pedestrian stop here in the area of 36th and Broadway. And Chief Steve Conrad, he tells us that the two men that the officer was attempting to stop, they ran away from the officer. That officer then chased after both the men, and Conrad says that's when the officer was shot at. He was grazed by a bullet. Police wasting no time rushing him to University Hospital. We do know it was a very tense, emotional scene. You can see officers running to the hospital this morning, all trying to get inside that emergency room to check on their fellow officer this morning to make sure everything's okay. And as we mentioned just a moment ago, we are told he is expected to recover from this. And now the big story is, where's the shooter? That's what Chief Conrad talked about this morning. LMPD is still continuing this active search this morning, which explains why a scene is still here several hours after the shooting took place. We know LMPD's chopper was flying in the air throughout the night, SWAT on the ground searching for the shooter. LMPD's Public Integrity Unit also investigating this after the shooting. So we know a lot of people waking up this morning curious as to what's taken place out here. I tell you, once we get news about the shooter, if police release any details about the suspects involved with this chase right here on the ground at 36th and Broadway, we're going to continue to follow the details. We'll give you the very latest live right here from the scene. We're right next to police officers, so we expect to learn more within the next hour or so. For now, reporting live downtown, Kayla Van Meter, Wave 3 News.
And of course, if you haven't downloaded that free Wave 3 News app, make sure to do that. We'll alert you as we get any new information. We are taking a live look here this morning toward the city. Notice a little bit of that fog starting to form. That's becoming our headline here on a Friday morning. If you're just getting up, getting going this morning, keeping a close eye on that. That could have an impact, of course, on your drive into work or school for some of you. And Brian, you said that could become a problem as we head throughout the morning commute.
Yeah, something we'll be tracking, but if that's the only issue we've got, it tells you how exciting this week's been.
Really?
To watch the river fog form here for this morning, but that's really the only hazard we'll have. It's not going to affect every location, but areas that you know in your route or during your route that typically do have fog on them are the ones likely to have that kind of a scenario today. So
we're going to be watching it, of course. And something else that a lot of people notice as they step out outside, it's warmer this morning. We felt more like fall for the past couple of mornings, but a lot of us are waking up to 60s. So those of you who had those 50s the past couple of days, yeah, sorry, those are leaving, but not for everyone. Some of you still in those upper 50s. Greenville, Henryville, both sitting at 58 degrees right now. Most of the metro are sitting in the low 60s, but we are seeing 69 degrees at the airport right now. 61 in Paoli, 62 in Salem, 59 in Cordon and in Bardstown. So we're going to be continuing to watch our temperatures slowly but surely rise. Light winds out of the south for today, and that's just going to be really the change that begins today. This is why we're going to be seeing slightly warmer temperatures, and we're also going to be watching for more of that moisture pushing into the area as we continue into the weekend. That means higher humidity coming our way. Also watching for that patchy fog that we're mentioning, most of it showing up on our sensors for areas just outside of wave country, but we know those spots that continuously deal with that fog, so we're going to be watching for that. By the way, if you're heading out for a run, most locations will be okay with plenty of sunshine for this morning, and we'll be seeing those temperatures in the low 60s to start off the day, but back to near 90 for our highs this afternoon, Brian. It's been a while since we've seen that, and it looks like we're going to be dealing with it through most of the weekend.
I don't think I've ever seen our wind at 1 mile per hour either.
It's light.
That's barely a breeze there, isn't it? All right, thanks, Tawana. Here we go with the latest with the fog, of course, we'll be tracking. Here's a look at the 2nd Street Clark Memorial Bridge. Everything looks good so far. As we head to the actual map, no crashes being reported, no slowdowns. It's still early. It's only 5:35 here in the morning, but the sensors are picking up at least on some of that fog trying to form here. It's not so much really at the main 2 reporting stations in the city, but the Clark County Airport is reporting a bit of light visibility issues there trying to develop, and that's certainly around I-65 near US 60 as well as across 62. But speeds still look good in this area, and the traffic camera shows that it's not a huge concern. So we'll be monitoring this. Again, not a huge concern on that, but certainly grab the shades because it is going to be another bright and sunny commute, it looks like, for a lot of us in Wave Country. Much more in about 6 minutes from now, Lauren.
New right now on Sunrise, a Hanover man arrested on child porn charges. Indiana State Police say a tip led them to the home of 30-year-old Kenneth Whalen III. Whalen was arrested after police searched his home on Grange Hall Road. He faces several felony charges, including possession of child porn and child exploitation. Also new this morning, a new affordable housing apartment complex. Here's a look at what it could look like. Could be coming to Prospect. LDG Development filed paperwork with the Louisville Metro Planning and Design Services. The company says Prospect Family will have 7 multi-family buildings and a clubhouse on 13 acres off of US Highway 42. The apartment itself will have 164 units. The plans do not include the exact features inside the apartments or how much it'll cost to live there. A Hardin County middle school is honoring a fallen Kentucky state trooper. Trooper Cameron Ponder was shot and killed in September of 2015 during a routine traffic stop in Lyon County. Ponder graduated from North Hardin High School. Now the middle school in the community is planning to start a scholarship in his name.
He wasn't just someone enforcing the law. He was looking after others, and so those are some of the virtues and characteristics we want to teach kids. Is you take care of yourself, you take care of others, you take care of, in our case, your school and communities.
The school will collect money to go toward the Cameron Ponder Memorial Scholarship Fund during a girls' basketball game on September 9th. Well, basketball season, football season, we're getting there, Tawana. We have a lot of after-school practices, and school hasn't even started for the kids yet, so the heat certainly making the two-a-days kind of tough.
Exactly, and if you're going to be doing anything outside this afternoon, just be extra careful as we see those temperatures warming up into the mid to upper 80s in most locations. Plenty of sunshine, not a shabby day to maybe hit the pool. I'll let you know about some warmer temperatures coming our way for the weekend and more rain for next week in just a few minutes.
And developing right now here in Sunrise, we have new reaction after LMPD says they will not be able to provide any crossing guards for 12 local schools this year. Sean Bowdy live with the new option city leaders are considering and what parents are saying about the change. And happening this weekend, a one-stop shop to plan your wedding day or to get free school supplies for your child. We've got you covered on what's happening in Wave Country right now, coming up after the break. We are following breaking news right now on Sunrise. An LMPD officer wounded in an early morning shooting. This is new video we are just now getting in of LMPD cruisers rushing the injured officer to the hospital. You can see him there pulling up, slamming on their brakes, running inside. We have not gotten word on who the officer is yet this morning. The police chief telling us he is waiting to notify the family. He does expect the officer to be okay as well. So this is something we'll continue to follow here this morning as we take a live look from the scene right now. The shooting scene happened at 36th and West Broadway. You can see police officers still on scene this morning. The crime scene tape is still up, and police have not made any arrests. They are still looking for the person or people responsible for shooting that police officer here this morning. Kayla Van Meter will have a live update coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Lauren. Broadway, by the way, looks like is open, but 36, of course, is blocked off there with that investigation, so we'll be monitoring that as well. All right, keeping an eye on the area cameras right now, both sides of the river, looking for some areas of patchy fog so far. It doesn't look too bad out there, but we'll be monitoring, I promise, each and every second here this morning. Right now, looking at the actual sensors, you see it's certainly being detected, and really this is the Clark County Airport that's triggering that across portions of Clark County. Here in the metro, everything looks to be in good shape. Also some patchy areas of fog at times here into Bardstown, so if you're heading down Bardstown Road, heading into, say, past High Grove all the way to the Bluegrass Parkway. Just be mindful of that. And coming down 71, got to watch, too, for patchy areas of fog. That's also a notorious spot, including River Road, to pick up some patchy fog issues. Otherwise, looking good. Just grab the shades because that sun's going to be really bright again in that eastern sky. And when you get that fog mixed in with it, it's going to make visibility a bit more restricted. Another update still to come here later in this half hour, Lauren.
New reaction this morning to news that LMPD will no longer provide crossing guards to 12 schools here in the Louisville area. Wave 3 News reporter Sean Bowdy joins us live here in studio. And Sean, a lot of parents, grandparents reaching out to us saying they're upset because this is happening so close to the start of school.
Yeah, there's just a couple of weeks before students in Louisville head back to school, and some cities are now scrambling to figure out how to staff those crossing guard positions that they're losing. LMPD will no longer provide guards for a dozen different schools in Jeffersontown, Anchorage, and St. Matthews, as well as Shively, all of which have their own police departments. City council members in St. Matt's say they've always had crossing guards from LMPD and say their citizens are paying taxes like everyone else. They contend their police force is assisting LMPD by working their own crimes in St. Matthews, so the last thing they should be doing is taking away help. Anchorage has 10 police officers. 3 of their crossing guards are from LMPD. J-Town's mayor and St. Matthews mayor told Wave 3 they're both shocked to hear about these changes. Their big concerns are the safety of the children.
We need to step back and look at what we need to do as a community and adjust the priorities of what you're spending the budget on and look at protecting our kids.
The Anchorage Police Chief tells us LMPD Chief Steve Conrad is sympathetic and really trying to help them get throughout the transition. But City Attorney John McGarvey says that this late notice right before school starts, there's no money in the budget to replace all 3 LMPD crossing guards. 2 alone are needed on a busy 5-way stop over railroad tracks. While city leaders say they just found out about the cuts, Mayor Greg Fisher's office says discussions have been going on for a few weeks. Reporting in studio, Sean Bowdy, Wave 3 News.
Thanks, Sean. This morning, we continue to watch the areas of fog that are trying to form across parts of wave country. Most of our sensors popping those up off to our west and off to our east. Some reports of that patchy fog towards Frankfort, seeing some of it towards parts of Nelson County and Clark County as well. But we're just going to keep an eye on it throughout the morning for sure. Your temperatures to start off the day, mainly in the upper 50s and low 60s. But at the airport in Louisville, we are currently seeing temperatures at 69 degrees. Eventually, we go from the 50s and 60s this morning back to near 90 for the afternoon. Even though the wind today will be on the light side, it's certainly going to help with the warm-up that we see for today and help to keep things on the warmer side tonight as well. Only falling down into the 60s overnight after we've seen 50s for overnight temperatures for quite a few days in a row. If you're heading out maybe camping this weekend, keep in mind highs near 90 for your Saturday and near 92 for your Sunday, and at least we will be dry for both of these days. We could see a couple of isolated showers here and there, but the humidity is that thing you're going to feel really ramping up a bit more for the weekend. However, still be on the tolerable level, not expecting any oppressive humidity for the weekend. Looking ahead to the beginning of next week, this is when we see that next front start to push towards our region as high pressure scoots off to the east. This will bring those scattered showers and thunderstorms for late on Monday into Tuesday. It doesn't look to be a completely widespread situation, so not everyone can get rain out of this, but of course we're going to be keeping an eye on it. We just need more moisture to be pumped into the region to help bring more rain to our area. That front moves out early on Wednesday, but we're not done with the rain yet. We will be watching for some more scattered storms come Wednesday. The clouds and the rain will help bump down temperatures back into the mid-80s for Tuesday and Wednesday, and we see still some scattered storms towards your Thursday.
Well, happening this weekend, a wedding show in St. Matthews to help brides and grooms get ready for their big day. This is happening Sunday. It's from 2 to 4 at the Louisville Marriott East on Embassy Square Boulevard. There will be more than 35 vendors at the show. Couples can register to win several door prizes that include discounts on wedding services, gift cards, even travel vouchers. Admission is free for the bride and groom and $5 for their guests. And remember, Home-A-Rama runs through Sunday. Always a lot of fun. The yearly event showcases custom-built new homes at a single site that are fully furnished, decorated, landscaped, and feature the latest in building trends, technology, and interior design. The show is at Dove Point Estates this year. Tickets are $10 a person. The hours are tonight from 5 until 9, then 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. tomorrow, and 1 to 6 p.m. on Sunday. And JCPS is hosting 2 school supply giveaway for students tomorrow. The first one is happening at Kindergarten Ready Fest at Farnsley Middle. That's from 10 a.m. to 12:30. District representatives will also help families complete paperwork for free and reduced school meals. Now, another giveaway is happening at Emmanuel Assembly of God. That's from 6 to 8. Now, parents, you have to be with your student in order for them to get school supplies. You can't send them alone. The supplies will be given out on a first-come, first-served basis. Here at 5:48 this morning, the ongoing trade war between the U.S. and other countries is having a big impact on jobs right here in Kentucky. Jane King has this story live coming up from the NASDAQ.
Eight minutes until the top of the hour. Good morning. Happy Friday, everyone. We're almost here to the weekend, and of course, the weather side of things still looks to be in good shape. So what about the roads? So far, so good. Just watching for some patchy fog so far. We haven't seen it become widespread. We're not expecting it to become widespread, but in pockets, it could certainly become locally dense, and it can cause some issues if it hits the wrong places. Right now, it looks like the right places are in good shape as we get into most of the bridges and area interstates, which is a good sign. As we keep an eye on the traffic flow, everything looks good. Some of the latest on the travel times. If you're traveling in from 65 southbound, heading north, looks like about 6 minutes to get you to the Waterson. Right now, your travel time for 64 to travel in from the Snyder Freeway into the junction is about 11-minute ride, and if you're coming in from the other direction across Floyd County, about 6 minutes to get you into downtown. We'll be monitoring all this. Another full update starting again in about 6 minutes from right now, Lauren.
Well, we are learning new details from Comcast. They're giving us an update about their upcoming streaming service. Plus, trade wars are sending jobs elsewhere. And right here in Kentucky, we are getting hurt more than most other states. Jane King live at the NASDAQ with those stories and more here on a Friday. Good morning, Jane.
Hi, Lauren. Good morning. Yes, the cost of America's trade disputes with the world continue to mount. Now, the Wall Street Journal reports that new government data suggests that a big cost is building, and foreign direct investment into America by multinational companies that are headquartered abroad is falling. Now, 2 of the 3 states where these affiliates accounted for more than 8% of all private sector jobs were Kentucky and South Carolina. 35% of Americans working for foreign multinationals, about 2.5 million people, are in manufacturing. Well, a Facebook co-founder reportedly working with the government on how to break up Facebook. The New York Times says Chris Hughes attended meetings with 2 other advocates pushing for antitrust proceedings against the company. Hughes has become an outspoken advocate for antitrust action or breaking up the company, arguing that Facebook is too powerful. Comcast says it will launch its NBC Universal streaming service in April 2020. The as yet unnamed streaming service will reportedly be free for cable subscribers and about $12 a month for cord cutters. More details about the service will be released closer to its launch date. And Nike unveiled its new sneakers. Are called the Joyride Run Fly Night. And they look like any other running shoe, at least from certain angles, but the cushioned soles are embedded with something totally different. The Joyride houses responsive pods that kind of look like Dippin' Dots that each contain thousands of tiny red and blue beads. Nike says will add a bounce in this step. Now, it's supposed to create a more personalized and unique experience for each runner. Well, stocks fell yesterday. Investors worry the Federal Reserve, when they meet next week, will not be as aggressive cutting interest rates as some hope. We do have some strong economic data, and there are also some comments from the top European central bank official that's causing some to think that may happen. We'll see. Live from the NASDAQ, I'm Jane King for Wave 3 News. Lauren, back to you.
Thank you, Jane. More bad news here this morning related to Boeing's troubled 737 MAX plane. We've been following this for a while here. Southwest Airlines extending the length of time that it's now canceling MAX flights until next year. That could mean fewer planes and higher ticket prices over the holidays. The 737 MAX planes have been grounded since March 13th following 2 fatal crashes overseas that killed hundreds of people. Travel experts say start looking at fares now for the winter holidays, and if you see a good fare, grab it before prices start going up. And Tawana, a lot of people hitting the road trying to squeeze in their vacation before school starts, and this weekend looks like a really good time for a staycation.
Yeah, go for it. Enjoy the weather, especially the drier weather while we have it, because next week we're watching multiple rounds of rain in our forecast. This morning we're starting off in the upper 50s and low 60s. We'll make it into the mid to upper 80s for this afternoon, near 90 for some of you. Some extra clouds in the forecast for the afternoon, but we will stay dry. It's not till Monday that we have more of the heavier rain returning to the forecast.
A major breaking news story we're following here this morning. An LMPD officer shot just hours ago. The suspects still on the run this morning. Police swarming the scene with helicopters and SWAT looking for the people responsible. This video just coming in here this morning of officers rushing the injured LMPD officer to the hospital. And new right now, a critical teacher shortage in Kentucky less than 3 weeks before the first school bell rings. More on how this will impact local students, new and next here at 6.